Good morning, everyone. So I see many people dialing in right now. And a very important being, Eric, is working on getting onto the link as well. So while that is happening, and we have our tech crew working with Eric, I think it would be a good time for me to start to welcome you all and give you a little bit of an overview and the practicalities. We'll get the boring stuff out of the way before we move into the teachings today. So first, welcome everyone. I'm Stephanie Cleary, and I'm representing the Dzogchen Nidtig Sanghas live from New York. I always wanted to say that. And welcome to AdzomGR Rinpoche and the teachings of Finding Rest in Illusion by Longchenpa. Before we begin, I'll go over those practicalities with you. Just hopefully it'll help. I know some might be used to the tech world at this point, but we are asking everybody to keep their mics muted and videos turned off for the teaching to increase bandwidth, so we have as least interference as possible. At the end of the teaching today, everybody could unmute the mics. I'll allow that to happen, and everybody can be seen to say hellos and goodbyes. So that will happen at the end. Once the teaching begins, I'm going to spotlight Rinpoche, so you'll be able to see him. The screen shouldn't bounce back and forth in any way. You should just have Rinpoche up on your screen. And I wanted to let everybody know something that you likely do not know, but we might go a little bit over time, about 20 minutes or so, because we're going to have a question and answer after the teaching. You can send questions that pertain to these specific teachings today to me in the chat. So you'll see that you can send a chat to me and any questions. Now, obviously, we have many people tuning in today, so we will not get to everybody's questions. There might just be a couple of questions answered, so we're sorry if we don't get to your question. Any tech issues? We have the wonderful Jack Cleary sitting back there, and Gary and Emily, our angels, are sitting in the background protecting us. So if you have any questions, you could send over to Jack Cleary. I think he's under tech support in the chat, so you'll see that. Hopefully you'll be okay with your tech. If you have major issues, just shut down your computer and start again. We often find that all somebody needed to do is reboot. So I'm just giving you that little hint there. The teachings are being recorded. So if you miss part of it or you can't stay for the extra 20 minutes, just know that you'll be able to access that within 24 hours or maybe even sooner on YouTube. And those links were provided in the email that Ani Soltram had sent to everybody. If either Rinpoche or Eric lose their connection during the teaching, I just ask everybody to use that time to do a wonderful Dzogchen meditation. No panic, just rest in the expanse and all will be well. And at the end of our final teaching, on the third teaching, I just wanted to mention there will be the opportunity to share financial generosity with Rinpoche and Eric for all that they're doing for us and bringing this amazing teaching. So that's just a seed. We'll go into details on the last teaching. So I see that people are continuing to sign in. So if you missed the announcements, I did write a very a condensed version of that in the chat. So if you have questions, you could refer to the chat, and that should be helpful. Today's program is going to consist of opening prayers, the teaching, question and answer, and closing prayers. But let me now check in and see if our dear Eric is on. Is he?
Getting a message that he is. Let's see if we can find him.
Okay, we're getting, if Jack's getting the message Eric is on, all is well. So I'll continue and introduce. So I'm going to introduce AdzomGR Rinpoche and Eric. But first, I want to share that this beautiful gathering of approximately 250 students are from 12 countries, including Sweden, Indonesia, India, Italy, Britain, Mexico, Lebanon, British Columbia, Argentina, Australia, and many states throughout the US. This is really a true expression of the Dzogchen Nyingtik, which was founded, headed, and named by Adzom Rinpoche in 2008. The Dzogchen Nyingtik global sanghas are dedicated to supporting his work and teachings. In 2018, I had this amazing fortune to meet Tuko Osel in Nepal, and he introduced me to AdzomGR Rinpoche. And AdzomGR Rinpoche was headed to the airport to come to the States to give teachings to our sanghas. Yet he made time to meet with me, and quite spaciously, with no indication of rush. When Tuko Osel introduced me as Adzom Rinpoche's student, AdzomGR Rinpoche said, "We are one." And I have to say, since then, my life has really drastically changed for the better. And the Sangha members who were in distant places all around the US felt as if they became my closest family. I could say this with certainty that many of us feel the same over the past 2 years. The oneness is inevitable, and the blessing of having both Adzom Rinpoche and AdzomGR Rinpoche in our lives is humbling and beyond the beyonds. AdzomGR generously agreed in the same easygoing way to teach us as a global Sangha during this time, while we're aware of the effects of global pandemic and systemic racism and environmental degradation and the recent tragedy in Beirut. We come together with possibility and potential to unify and to pray for all beings and to heal. So AdzomGR Rinpoche has a direct, unbroken lineage back to Longchenpa. He was recognized by Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche as the Tuku of the great Gurme Druje, the eldest son of AdzomGR. At an early age, AdzomGR Rinpoche began receiving teachings, transmissions, and empowerments from many eminent masters. And Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche was AdzomGR Rinpoche's root guru. Rinpoche is the master of all annual ceremonies at Shechen Monastery in Kathmandu, Nepal, and at some branch monasteries in Bhutan. He also gives guidance to monks and nuns in 3-year retreats at his retreat center in Bhutan. We are also so blessed to have master translator and being extraordinaire, Eric Drew, translating for AdzomGR Rinpoche. Eric has been a Tibetan translator for over 30 years. In his youth, he spent several years living as a monk at Rumtek Monastery under the guidance of His Holiness, the 16th Karmapa. He has translated for dozens of lamas over the years, and his translation skills, and I must add, generosity of wisdom, are appreciated all over the world. Rinpoche will be teaching from Thimphu, Bhutan, and Eric will be translating from Kathmandu, Nepal. Now I'll introduce Lama Jacqueline Mendel, who is the founder of Samden Ling in Portland, Oregon, which is a branch of the Dzogchen Nyingtik. She met Adzom Rinpoche back in 1996 and has been a student of his ever since. She has been a true catalyst here in bringing us together and suggesting this online teaching take place. Together with the blessings of AdzomGR Rinpoche, we pulled together and manifested this vision, working with harmony and oneness. She will lead us through the opening prayers, which were sent to everyone through the email from Ani Soltram, who I have to say, I would love to take time and thank everyone, but I have to say, Ani Soltram, blessings on you for all the work that you have put in tirelessly and registering everybody and doing everything that you've done. We have really pulled this harmonious collaboration together, and we are so excited. Now, Lama Jacqueline, we're going to ask you to unmute your mic, and she's going to share a short story about connecting with AdzomGR Rinpoche, and then we'll lead us with opening prayers.
Thank you, Stephanie. It is such a joy to join with everyone. This was a vision manifest by all of you. Thank you. I first met AdzomGR Rinpoche in 2016. I knew that he had gone to the different Dzogchen Nyingtig centers, and although I did not know him personally, I thought I would send him a message, please come to Portland, Oregon and teach us. I messaged him in May of 2016, and then I did not hear back from him at all. On my birthday, September 1st, 2016, I woke up to a message from AdzomGR Rinpoche. Yes, I would be very happy to come to Portland. Ever since, AdzomGR Rinpoche has come to Portland to give Longchen Nyingtig and Longchenpa teachings, and it's been a great blessing. And we're so glad to join together with you, AdzomGR Rinpoche. Thank you. And we will now do our opening prayers that everyone has. And we'll first do the Great Blazing Bliss, also called the Dechen Barwa. I will chant that in Tibetan, and everyone on their own pace can chant either in Tibetan or English. And then the rest of the opening prayers will be in English. And we'll begin. Om Ahumri Dechen Barwa Wangji Podandu De Ton So Tsar Yesheku Macha De Don Pe Ma Rang Zin Le Dorje Ningma Nangwa Chen Popel Choku Sangwa Yashe Dorje Cho Jing Jeng Wang Chu Tu J J Chung Su Pema Kalpo Korde Nang Wajor Nang Shri Zil Nang Wan Jun Heruka Sangwa Yashe Benzra Varahi Demcho Du Pe Japo De Chen Por Mom Chu Malu Kegu Yi Tron Richen Ma Cho Tu Changji Wang Ju De Zongar Wang Ze Dorje Pa O Daki So Nang Tog Ni Ma Som Pa Ning Ne Du Dorje Ku Yi Jarji Shri Sumyo Game Sanji Ze Dre Kam Suku Ozer Mar Por Korde Yang La Job Shri Zi Zang Ji Yo Zing Du Parje Dorje Chapa Chempo Tu Ji Ni Nam Ni Non Ju Do Ji Chempo Zang Dorje Jazu Zang Po Chempo Yi Nang Shri Dewa Chempo Dom Je Pa Taye Gutrul Drawe Ro Garjen Tilji Gondu Che Wa Zin Ze Pe Rob Zam Sa Sum Wanji Latso La Gu Pe So Wa Deb So Jinji Lob Cho Tu No Ju Do Gu Pel Ta Da To Me Wang Du Je Pe Nong Ju So. And the 7 branch offering in English. Re to the Lama, and exalted assembly of deities, I pay homage with devotion of body, speech, and mind, presenting real and imaginary offerings. I openly confess unwholesome, negative actions and downfalls. Rejoicing in the deeds of the 3 times, I request, turn the supreme wheel of Dharma. I pray that you remain without passing into nirvana. I dedicate all merit gathered to the heart of awakening. In the Jerme Dorje supplication prayer in English, Rizin Drodul Pao Dorje, and the son of the victorious one, Pema Wangji Jal, and Dorje Naxel, I pray to you, bestow the supreme and common cities. Embraced by sublime beings over many lifetimes, in this life realized the view of the heart essence teachings, luminosity. Awareness holder Jerme Dorje, I pray to you, bestow the supreme and common cities. In supplication to Adzom Rinpoche, one with majesties everywhere, Lord, great kind Lama of 3 kindnesses, Rizin Jerme Dupten Jatso, please, may my practice come to completion. In our short mandala offering, this earth is anointed with sacred water and strewn flowers, adorned with the sun and the moon, Mount Meru, and the 4 continents. I offer this visualizing it as a Buddha field. May all beings take births in the Pure Lands. I send forth this jeweled mandala to you, precious Guru, and the request to turn the wheel of Dharma, to fulfill the needs of sentient beings in their various states of mental capacity, including the lesser, greater, common, and extraordinary vehicles. We beseech you to turn the wheel of Dharma. Thank you.
Thank you, Lama Jacqueline. I did get a message that I forgot to mention Thailand. Maybe they signed up after I received the country, so welcome, Thailand. So now we're going to transfer over to AdzomGR Rinpoche for the teachings. I just want to remind everybody to please keep their videos off and to please keep their mics off. Thank you.
And videos.
Okay, Rinpoche, you are set.
Okay.
Yes, we hear you.
Okay. Eric is on.
It's all good.
Oh yeah. 다 도말 아니 다리 다 두스 될라야. 딘데기 두스 다 자다 될라야. 아니 나라서 상마 툭툭바 될라. 가보시다 주문세.
So to begin with, we're all here congregated today, this time, and that fact brings Rinpoche great joy that we're all able to get together like this.
아니 데나네야 다 망쳐와 알아서 니마 투뇽게 제뇽게 장장레샤 스팅 카시 사바레도 스틴데 아니 아 사바딘절에 다시 들레스
Most of the people who are attending Rinpoche knows quite well. And there may be a few newbies. And so for those new people, Tashi Delik, welcome.
아니 데나네 단다 데니 니마 안좀 별로로 무시 주샤jogi 아니 조첸닝데기 아니 다 아리 룽바 가사 갈라 예데겐나네 다 조저보 베나 단다 휴스틴에 예데겐 덴라마 엔 클랜 당 데니 포틀랜드 라이겐 잭 클랜 덴 뉴욕 네티 스티비니 아니 아프리카 기네 디 카세 단다티 Carol who ani Creston ani children ta dedan denashin pe monguj dos tin de ta shalom ning bat so chewa tang an pe mes semba ka wuchungs
And so this Dharma group, which was established by AdzomGR Rinpoche, is called the Dzogchen Yingtik. And so for those principal leaders in the Dzogchen Yingtik, there's Anne Klein in Houston, Lama Anne Klein. And then also there's Lama Jacqueline in Portland, Oregon, and Lama Carol Hoy in Santa Fe. And then there's also Lama Stephanie in New York. And also Lama Tsochomalioni in Colorado, Taramandala. These are all the, principal teachers. And so, welcome, everybody.
ani ta dojin de ne ani dugne dat na kutsap nga yins bayin ne ani kejur cheres
And then Rinpoche, Atum Jalse Rinpoche is the representative in Bhutan. And I'm holding my end of the deal here in Nepal.
ta de de so ta dojin de la yonde ani ta rengi ani ngarang zo chushe 아르바데 테니 가르치야레라나 아니 달 론체람점기 숨기 건네마 슈에인스
So today there will be the teaching. The teaching that's offered is on Dzogchen, in particular Dzogchen Yingtik. And it's a teaching that was composed by Longchenpa. So we'll be going through the stages of this presentation of this teaching by Longchenpa.
아니 다 당보 아니 최시디 만난기 뇌라야 아니 주버주버당 아니 대수제인스게
And so prior to the teaching, it's customary to do some prayers, such as praising the lineal gurus and so on. And so Rinpoche will commence that.
강기 두선이 손에 다 담제 범배지를 담배시네 된저베 고담데라 장저로 담불리다 된저 소신조 카와진도 주기 되면 버는 거는 좀 마셔야 되지고 괜찮시와 솔라소한데 좀 저근이를 제다 틀린남시 콜레지로 보 나세원도 되도 보 대마준네 잡란다소 좀 전시 선바체시 수진제 간제 주는 거 말로 봐 나서도 도르제 바이 Kison de Zenjala Zoan de Consantos and Garabshiris, Pemacara Jevani Shuma, Sosos, Cadrella Namla Zoan de Zomin Zevijin Ruchmida, to Londonia Betonga, not number Betush. The sugar of the Longchenpa Jimes, Rajala Zoan de Shajagunjan Dola, Mezian to the Uzananjanam Genajua, Jingling Vishala Zoan de Sunjawaki, Rajeta, the General Sanjino. Yandro Pizze Nanjaba Jimmy Dile Uzraso de Baba Jina Jimmy Jave Nugroso and Jimmy Jave Nugroso and Ninki Timbishin da Longchenpa, subject to get the Jimmy Ling, 200 pound Dojisha Kunshan Yabza Sumla so and Sanjipin Chini issues, the Shin of the Jambian to Benshita Kiron Bush. Pemandonga Lingbrazoa, the in the Sanjikan Yam, cutting Sanjikan Habikin, Zavilami Shelasoa. Nason Royelo Nachola, Juru, Kanda Chuju Tungijina, the Jeloma Joka, Suda, in the Timbichi, Chelvich. Temperande bottom gender, like it under the Nijinga, Rumdani, Kenanda, working in Anjazam. Tamjegedo, Jejan, Pijuru, 최대 되네 마슈이기 겐돌라 아니 근론당 근제디 아니 제발 제거에 되게 전부 차대결레스.
So prior to offering the teaching, it is really essential to generate the correct motivation, the correct altruistic aspiration before receiving teaching.
아디나네 근론대 삼로당 건디당국을라나 나질남게 타다냐베 셈젠 탐제게 된도 남첸라남네버 양도버 조비 산지제고 바람버시 토버제위 체도 아니 다레 다기 담비치디 생긴스 사버도양 다 다레기 디스델라 내양기 찡기 미망고지 아니 나 가세 정도 제 아니 정도 쇼르 시쇼르 힌데다 탐제 산지제고 반 토버제위 체도당 아니 내게 나르데긴데 탐제 뉴르도 다야기 안데게 삼바체고야 단 직제 아니 하고르도 다 가서님이 레서 단다디 리비넌다 아니 미망고지 시소아 미망고지 네바차 내게 미망고 시샤주대야 아니 뉴도 남친 남바 tar보다 탐지심고 바람부지 토벌제위 체도당 대긴 아니 게 내게 다 탐제 아니 뉴르도 다야기 체도라 안 다레 다린다 된대기 아니 조바침부 아니 최디 슈네 냠수 라네 대다 탐지 가지고 가는 것이 더버제 위치도 인 삼로 디디당고 그래스.
So we should reflect upon the fact that those sentient beings who are as vast as space suffer, and we should direct our attention towards liberating those beings into the state of all-knowing, precious Buddhahood. And so one should feel that towards that end, one is here present at this time, listening to those teachings. And in particular, we should direct our attention and our inspiration to benefit those beings that are currently being assailed by this present pandemic, the coronavirus, those beings who have died and are presently ill with that disease. We should make heartfelt prayers and make that inspiration that those who have passed or those who are sick, for those who have passed, we make the wish that they achieve swiftly the state of all-knowing Buddhahood. And for those who are presently ill, may they swiftly recover. And then also we should incorporate in our inspiration and our motivation all of those victims of the bombing in that explosion that happened in Lebanon a couple of days ago. You know, for those people who are suffering, will be injured, and those who have passed away, we should formulate the intention and the wish that they swiftly achieve all-knowing Buddhahood. And so this should really be precisely our intention, you know, our heartfelt intention that, you know, we feel personally that we're listening to the teachings with that objective in, you know, with that objective in mind, the wish to liberate all beings.
다든데게 삼로 담베고네 네 냠수 라용 베체나 다 최대 가르rel나 최대 지단기 아니 된데기 다 로존다보다 대과만버다보 된데기 최레벨은 된데기 최대 말에 조바치부 최대 슈기요레스달라.
So armed with that inspiration, that motivation, you know, we put that into direct practice. And so what we're attempting here to practice, it's not the ordinary vehicle, which is comprised of the various teachings, such as mind trainings and so on. But this is on a higher level. This is the teaching of the great perfection of Dzogchen.
다디 나네장 아니 나랑조 나저닝마라 다나 라마 망고 지에베 나네 게타 체시 롱첸람 잠스 공기숨 데라야 아니 제든 데네 랑돌 코르숨 데네 알소 코르숨 다 딘데 예데바레스
And so these teachings, which are part of the early translation school of the Nyingma tradition, within the Nyingma tradition, there are many great masters, but in particular, one very special master is Longchen Rabjam. And Longchen Rabjam composed such great works such as Finding Ease in the Nature, the three series of teachings, and then also the Zödun, the seven treasuries, and then also the three cycles of self-liberation, so which comprise of three great texts. And so these are some of his amazing works.
다디 다리 값숨 아니 알소 코르숨세 베나 셈닝 알소 삼댕 알소 주망 알소 숨예베 나네 값수 바바디 주망 알소 되니시 다 셰레스
And so on this occasion, we'll be learning about one of the texts in finding ease in the true nature. So there's the finding ease in the nature of mind, finding ease in meditative stabilization, and then finding ease in illusion or resting in illusion. Jumang also, that's the third text. And so Rinpoche will be teaching from that third text, finding rest in illusion.
다치단 단다기 슝디 인지 토레 유지레 인지 토와디 조 자와레도 자와토니 자와레데 자와디 인지 주샤주레데 오야 디니다 아니 가나조 텐주 델라야 다 자가 케베기 제샤주기 텐주당 뇌 케베기 제샤주 텐주스 나바니에데 바레스
So with regards to this text, there are those texts that have been composed by the great masters of India, the Shastras, those texts and commentaries. And then there are those texts that have been composed by Tibetan authors, Tibetan masters.
다디 나네 케버 가리어를라나 뇌 케바기 제샤주기 텐주디 조 sabject 원도거네 아니 저자디 땡기어레스 아니 자가 케바기 제샤주기 텐주이나 삼자를 찍기 전에 삼자료거네. 아니 그 되게 저자디 땡기어레스.
So a difference in the approach of the scholars of Tibet versus the scholars of India is the scholars of Tibet would use root verses or the root points as a guideline, whereas the Indian authors would use an outline of the teaching and follow an outline, whereas the Tibetans would use like a fundamental points, they're called sabje or root verses.
아니 대나네 단다 주망 알소디 나 근전 전부 베케베기 아니 베기 케바인데 베케베 대샤주기 텐저인데 델라양 subject of 샤송아이나 아니 나바 숨기 콘스 두그레스.
And so Longchenpa, being a great Tibetan master, follows the system of the scholars of Tibet, which is to utilize this the root points as a guideline. And so he formulates the text under these three major points. He organizes the text under three major points.
다디 subject 가rel라나 당보디 텐저라 주비기 주 아니 주율 텐저기 레 아니 텐저 용수 소비 자와스 다 주망 알소디 디콘 디 숨기 콘소나 두두레스.
So he starts off with the fundamental root points, And then the second part is he elaborates on that, and then there's the follow-up advice. So he's structured it in that way, 3 ways.
아니 디에 당보 땡줄라 주비 주딜라야 아니 생기 된당 아니 착설와 잠버 담자와 나버 숨 땡기여레스 디나
Chachawa dang
생기
Zamjawara. Oh, yeah.
착
Was
사와
oh yeah. And so so the root, the beginning part has 3 subdivisions in it. And that is elucidating the meaning of the name or the title of the text, and then offering homage, and then formulating his intention to compose the text. So it follows a classical setup of a classical format of how a text is structured. So it begins with that first point.
아니 다 땡줄딜라 첸데 마다 송아이나 베낭 알아서 가르치여라나 민도 딱바르 맞으나 지된 담제 몽바르 주르스 송여라 민데 마다 송아이나 지된 담제 몽르 그랬어 몽구이 좀 생각을라나 민메나 미더부지네 민메나 깨당 투마로 깨당 쉐이마로와 잘라지네 기술랍 쉐이마로 인데 땡줄이네 첸 메송아이네 땡줄 가린 하고 마로 인데 아니 땡줄라 첸 답이 여바디 되레스
So if we're not clear about the title, then we will misconstrue what it's about. We won't understand what it's talking about. We won't understand what the topic is. It's said traditionally that if the name is obscured, all those beings will be obscured. If the name's not clear, everyone in the world will be clueless or obscured as to what it is. Just like if somebody doesn't have a name, you can't really call out to them. So if they have a name, you can just precisely call out so-and-so and they'll come to you. Or if an object is not properly labeled, if it doesn't have the right name, then we're sort of like at a loss as to what it is. So we can best relate to the object or a person or a text such as this by firstly understanding its name, its title.
아니 슈아보 코르기 민디 아니 거네 땡지 민다야나 카셰양 아니 갈라워다 주자기 거네 민다야다 안 대가 나지 카셰양 미기 민디수 강사 민디 아니 땡지로 토와 땡데 여다 버레스 디나니 단다 값수 바바디 주자기 아니 된디 땡지기 민도 주망알소 주자 주마 아체 탐지 주미랑 신이도 땡라 파베 임비 좀선 땡라 땡네 아니 주제기 원도 다네 땡지기 민들라 주망알소 스바타 버레스
So traditionally texts can have various styles of headings or labels. Like sometimes the text, the title will refer to the author's name. They'll have the author's name in it. Or sometimes the text will, as a title, will have the name of the topic constituting the title. Or sometimes the text is titled after the name of the recipient of that teaching, the individual who is receiving the teaching. In this case, this text is named after the topic that it presents. And the topic here is the fact that all phenomena are illusory in nature. And it sets about arriving at a definitive conclusion about just that everything is like an illusory appearance. Juma in Tibetan.
아니 데나네 단다 베게 다 첸라 조바침보 주망알소 시에테 바레 데네 자가르게 켈라야 숭요레 다 자가르게라 숭고비 줌센 가르라나 자가르게고네 숭비 줌센데 아니 최기 쿵쩨바 갈라는 최 당보 자가네야 다르셔지인데 땡지데 쿵쩨보 임비기 줌센 내가 나신기 아니 레자게 켈라 박차초야게 줌센라서 와 텐데지 숭요레 자가르게도 숭고비 줌센데레스
So the Tibetan title speaks of, it labels it as, this is the great perfection, finding a rest in illusion. Dzogpa Chenpo Juma Nyang So. And so the second title that's used is, it's translated into Sanskrit. And that's, why is it in Sanskrit? It's to honor the origins of the Buddhist teachings. And so it's given a Sanskrit title. And not only that, but it's to establish within us auspicious habitual tendencies connected to Sanskrit, which is a sacred language.
jagar ke kela ani karsung yore lana maha sandi maya bi shenta nama sung yore ta chidangi ani denda de pathegar jur songa ina maha la hindi chambujil ko yore.
So the Sanskrit title is Mahasandhi Himaya Visrantha Nama. And so the first part, Maha means great.
Dindi tene sandi la hindi ani zokpa zok la hindi tamje chik du dusha jugi tenda kar duyo lana pena shi lam debu deda tamje chik du dubigi jumzen tela tane zok shi zokpa lam zokpa shi zokpa chenpo lam zokpa chenpo debu zokpa chenpo us shaya yora o dina shin tamje chik deda tela jumzen tela tene sandi is.
So, and then the second part of that is Sandhi, so Mahasandhi. Sandhi means perfection or completion. And so what this refers to is the fact that all phenomena are complete, and there's the totality of that perfected and completed within that. And so what is it that, what does that totality refer to? It's the totality of the great perfection of the ground, path, and fruition. Everything is found within that. So therefore it's a complete perfection.
Ani dinane maya la hindi ani juma la gogo yore juma la hindi miktul ji la gogo yore indi pena jagar ke kela tini miktul tengen joro dila maya se koron jagar ke la miktul tengen dila indi miktul gogo yore mayas.
And so Maya in Tibetan is Juma, which means like an illusory appearance, like a magical appearance. It also refers to like something that's a kind of a diluted appearance to the vision, to the eyes. Just like a magician may perform tricks, kind of magic, which is deceptive to the eyes. And so that's what is referred to as Maya here, is that it's the illusion, the illusory appearance. Oh, that's it. And so then there's the word shanti. Shanti did not do it like Visranta. Visranta, shanti say do. Oh yeah, now so Visranta means to find ease or to be at peace. Like in India in contemporary times, people say shanti, shanti, like be at peace, relax, find ease. So that refers to that.
Ade jagar ke la deje ani bege dola zogwa chimbo jumangal so shejawa as deje tene pal dorje sembala chasalo tambo chebar jebana ne dorje sembala chasalo dorje sembala ani cha chego bi jumzen garrela na ta ngaranzogi sangagi ani tembade ani ta dorje semba imbi jumzen tela tene pal dorje sembala chasalo.
So that completes the title. And then the next part is paying homage. So it says, okay, so the Tibetan title is Longchenpa Jumong also Shechawa. So herein contained is the text, finding rest in illusion. And then now we come to the phrase. It says, homage to glorious Vajrasattva. So why do we pay homage to glorious Vajrasattva? Because Vajrasattva is the principal Buddha of the teachings of the secret mantra. He's like the teacher, the revealer, and the Buddha of those teachings.
이제 다 디네마 처벌저버디 송구도 처벌저버디 최근 마제 냠내강일에 이시 주마님의 로바제 셈니 전되말레 마제 두테메베 차살로 아디 아니 다술로 처벌저버를라나 아니 라니기 셈기시 대화시비 닝부들라 처벌저 송아레스.
And so then the text continues, all things emerging from the state of evenness unborn are but the great display of primordial wisdom, non-dual and illusory. Through never being parted from this unborn state, I bow down to the nature of my mind. So who are we actually paying homage to? What are we paying homage to? We're paying homage to our own mind nature, our own essence.
아니 셈니 잡고 랑중 되말라 송에네 랑 셈니기 잘부데 카렐라나 소소랑 릭바 자주지 셈캄 대화시비 닝부디 차대기요레스 데니 덴데기 대화시비 닝부디 아니 코로아다 냥엘레베 최 탐지기 잉삼 중내 담바디 차대기요레스.
And so this term, the king of the nature of mind. What is this king of the nature of mind? It's our own self-occurring intrinsic awareness. It is the constituent of mind. Constituent is, it's the nature of mind. It's the dhatu of mind. It is the Tathagata Garbha, the Buddha nature, the matrix of the Buddha nature. It is basic space itself, the source of all phenomena.
딘데기 대화식 닝부디 아니 가르라나 최긴 마제 냐뱅강이라도 모니 란싱기 제와메바 냠바니 묘보메바 아니 대가 나신기 딱실레 대바 니수메바 아니 마산 제발레 대바 디디 가르차기요 소소랑아릭 비기 아니 시지 대화식 닝부디 차대기요 딘데 딜라치다 차스긴스.
Gonda, Repuji, I got to the Namjungi Chikbarji Dua, Chik Jason, Chikarson do, Machepa, Nyambani, Mopomepa, any Mopomepa.
제와메바 란싱기 제와메바 냠바니 묘보메바 딱실레 대바 메바 아니 마라삼 주메 기랑신데라 시지 대화시비 닝보스 디미 좀슨 델라데네 델라 차스긴스.
And so we're paying homage to this, the unborn, non-arising state, which is the state of equality, free of any kind of substance, limitless, the state which is inexpressible, inconceivable, ineffable. That essence, we are paying homage to that.
대다리 임바디양 아니 юм체문나네 생겨라나 브라삼 제메 샤라파루친 마제 메가 남긴 원이 사소라를 지죄와 디숨 제위움라 차살로스 딘데기 제위움디양 시지 대화시분님부디 차대기여레스.
So in brief, we're paying homage to the Great Mother. Inexpressible, inexpressible, inconceivable, ineffable, transcendent wisdom gone beyond. The Great Mother, the essence of space, I pay homage.
대체 대인비 좀서 될라 된다 차서와디 되래 다 디나말라 아니 차기 제라 된지 잠버 담자와 젤위 최근 주미출니소 양다 송대랑신 독제실 너지 맹한님비 취되니 지들 냠수 용신 셰기 년세 다 롱첸바이 가르송들라나 젤위 자와조비 산지 좀 된데기 최대다 탐제 출 두송와이는 니수도 그래스 디디 가르라나 주미기 출니 송에디 가르라나 밀람바 주마 대랑신 똑버제위 체둘라 도주 다 도당 내가 나신기 주 맹아 닝부 망보지기 소추기 뒤네 안단다디 주망 알수나마 셰긴 아니 소소용원의 냠수 녀외고네 마 셰긴 체나마 예로제스 잠버담자 셰긴 년스.
So then, after paying homage, Longchenpa then states his intention of like why he has composed this text. So he says that you may understand the perfect teaching of the conqueror, that all things are by nature the two aspects of illusion. Here I have distilled the sappy essence of the sutras and tantras and pith instructions. Listen, I shall set it forth as I myself experience it. So he's basically stating that the essence of the Buddha's teaching, which is really summarized under the two aspects of dream and illusion, by making recourse to this example that the Lord Buddha taught, he's going to formulate the essence of that in the essence of those teachings of the sutras and the tantras and the quintessential instructions, and formulate it in such a way that we can ourselves then put it into practice. So for our own benefit, so that we may engage in the practice, realize that.
다 텐주 단계 이야기요 subject 숨샤비 나네 subject 당보 텐주를 주비 주디 아니 주심바레 다 주율기 텐주 르뉴 셰바 델라야 아니 subject number 게 디양 리우게 아니 셰요레 베나 아니 리우 당보 델라야 최탐제 밀람다고 아니 니바 델라야 최탐제 주마다고 숨바 델라 최탐제 미요르다고 아니 시바델라 최탐지 미주다고 아니 나바델라 최탐지 추다다고 아니 최탐지 작자다고 데니 최탐지 디세 동절다고 아니 최탐지 뚫바다고 딘데기 아니 최다다 탐제 아니 나란족이 다 나바 산제비기 슝다다 탐제 나라 최탐지 똥니니도 땡라파 똥바니도 땡라파바데 랑신 메바니도 땡라파비옹베스나 랑신 메비기 빼라 주미페 게스 셰이로와스 딘데기 주미페 게보데 아니 리우 림바심도 레레진 마 셰샤죠 딘데 당보데라 아니 주미기 빼나네 밀람다고 디코데 시그레스.
And so Longchenpa then, so now we've completed the first point, which had 3 subdivisions. That is, stating the intent and the purpose of the whole thing, the fundamental point. And then now we come to the second part where it elaborates on the main body of the work. The topic, the main body of the topic. And so this is further divided. This second point is divided into 8 chapters. And so the first one has to do with the dream. And then the second one has to do with like magical appearances, magical apparition. And then the third one has to do with distorted vision, or like mirage. And then the fourth one has to do with eye defect. And then the fifth one has to do with the reflection of the moon in water, using that as an example. And then the sixth is an echo, using that as an example. And then the seventh is a city of Gandharvas. And then the eighth is a magical apparition, magical display. The eighth one is express magic, and the first one's kind of diluted appearance. Oh, the second one is like that's the difference between the second and the eighth one, just to get to clarify the translation. So all of this is pointing out the emptiness, that there's no inherent self-existence, that all phenomena are empty. And so these 8 examples are known as the 8 examples of Maya, of illusion.
Adi tanda ngarazu dina chushugen nane ani chushunyungke nyema chushunyungke ningba dende chu hago degin deda tamje chu rashime bani do hago den deda tamje gi chedola ani chu tamje jumata bure milamda bure lamna yang lola pagires inayang tanda dina la chushugen sarba yosong wena chu tamje tongbani do ke malenke ina chu tamje jumeran shin do re la yonde ani des kensabu jo bugures.
So now for older students, you know, to hear this, it sounds familiar, it sounds acceptable. You know, the fact that all phenomena lack inherent existence, they have no self-existing nature. And so that we may be in agreement with that, but maybe for newcomers, this may be a kind of a challenge to understand, you know, that everything is this state of emptiness.
Adinane ngeshi ma shiwar jewa la tangbo liu tangbo che tamje ani milam tabu ten ta dinang karsung yor la na ngaranzu gi shi dewar shigwe ningbo de rangshe meba an ta tamje dan tawa chugi ingon tawe go ne ta jebi go ne ma shegi yores.
Rangshin kasa she they worship Ningbo Rangshin Nebaga Tatra
Chugi.
Oh Chiki. Thank you, Esra. So this this first chapter uses the example of dream, and so here what's talked about is the fact that the ground of being, that is the Sugata Garbha, that essence which has that thrust towards bliss, that Buddha matrix which has that movement towards bliss, Dewa Shikpa, you know, moving towards bliss, is free of self-nature, completely free of any kind of extreme. It is basically the space of all phenomena, the Dharma Dhatu, and that's what's revealed here.
Takrama tsawana ne karsungdula na shi mi jur semni namgashi tongse tredan trewe ngani le jalchwe dime nida sagarchin tunjup kusumi shi tundrilme ngangi wesel yenden zokwa dene rangshin demi ne lukte kangda shi juma lakwar sungse dat ani shi minjur la hindi karsha gugirala na khorde ye ani jumegi jungshi di sha gugiyores.
Korte Jungshi, understand.
Korte Jumegi Jungshi.
Or or Korte Jungshi Sungdue, Korte, or Korte Jungshi.
주마기 중시디.
So I'm going to read from the text. The ground's expanse beyond all change, the vast sky of the nature of the mind, is empty, luminous, and free from mind's elaboration. Therein, like the sun, the moon, and all the stars, the pure, unstained phenomena of Buddhahood are present of themselves. The threefold kaya, never sundered from the five primordial wisdoms, and all the qualities of luminosity naturally complete. This primal, fundamental natural state is said to be the entirely pure illusion of the ground. So to begin with, the first statement, the ground's expanse beyond change. So what does this mean? What this points out to is this ground, the space of the ground of being, which is immutable, unchanging, is the very source of samsara and nirvana. It's the ground of the onset of samsara and nirvana.
다 된대기 아니 코르데기 주미기 중시디 가rel라나 리과 장초지 셈 얘네 외살와 대화식이 닝부디 자기여레스 닝부디 인라스.
And so this illusory cyclic existence and transcendence, the state of nirvana and cyclic existence, what's pointing out to is that its essence is intrinsic awareness, bodhicitta, rikpa chanchup semba in Tibetan. It's the essence of this luminosity. So that's what's being pointed out to, is that this illusory appearance of samsara and nirvana is nothing other than rikpa chanchup sem, that the vidya bodhicitta, the intrinsic awareness, bodhicitta, and the luminous nature of mind.
다 된대기 대화식이 닝부 되기 뭐 아니 동바 남가다고 랑신기 살와 니마단 다와 콜라 팅기 딥샤저레 만도바 랑기 ngola 팅기 디바 메안데 랑신기 살와 투제 샤싱네비 아니 베나 시지 대화식이 닝부 되기 투제 샤시디 멜롱다고 베나 멜롱나라 나란주기 수니디 샤르기 메라네 랑신기 샤르용기로
And so this Buddha potentiality, this Sugata Garbha, in essence, it's likened to the sky. It's like the sky-like nature of reality. And its nature is like the luminous sun and the moon. And its resonating concern, its responsiveness, which dawns, is like the very basis of which is that Buddha nature is like a mirror. You know, even if you don't want something to reflect in a mirror, it can't help but reflect. So its nature is to reflect. So that responsiveness is like a reflection in a mirror. It's naturally going to occur.
아니 페나 남갈라 니마당 카르와 니마당 다와니 예바나신 나란주기 아니 셈기 나란주기 줄라 시지 대화식이 닝부디 예데 바레스 시지 대화식이 닝부 랑이 ngo데니 아니 가르라나 아니 꾸단 이시 튕기 줍데레스 대다 담지.
And so this sky-like nature, in that sky, there's the presence of the sun and the moon. And this is likened to the fundamental cause of the ground of being, the fundamental potentiality of the ground of being, in which there resides the Sugata Garbha. And so the essence of that Sugata Garbha is such that it contains within it, spontaneously present, the various kayas and the various primordial wisdoms are replete within that ground of being, which is the Tathagata Garbha, that ground potentiality.
Adindigi shi dewarshikwi nyingbu dela ani sanje la sanje imba ni to ngoma shewe go ne semjen de da thamje thul ru gyo res ati thul yombe sna thul su de kande re lamna de shung na ne sung do de nye nga le lobru thul bitin milam je bo ni gi nga su ju henji je be marik ni da ni me ni su zimbe lebe sem kyundo takbe marik le jung do do thuna na su milam shin se ta dinde ko ne adela tene semjen da thamje thul ru gyo res
So, despite the fact that the ground of being is this Buddha nature, the Sugata Garbha, beings don't recognize it for what it is, and so thus are deluded. And so how is it that they become sentient beings, and in what fashion do they become deluded? So the text continues to say, okay. Within this ground, through co-emergent ignorance, like sleep that brings forth dreams, which are like clouds of momentary illusion, and through conceptual ignorance, the mind impaired by apprehension of duality, where there is no duality, there appear various false appearances. So they misconstrue the ground of being and are subject to non-recognition. And so then there's this unfolding of their becoming this evolution of becoming a sentient being by misconstruing that ground of being.
ta dindi thul yombe sena yang pena chibuda thamje ma nye ne ani ni khu yombe sena ngaran zogi ni nang la ta zamzam kibu zamzam dungal la so milam shargi ros deda thamje milam la milam imba ni to machine ngi so yin samba na shin ani shiji dewar chig mi ning bu delaya ani sanje la sanje imba ni to matok ne thul ne semjen da thamje ma khorwa la cham de gi res.
So just like when you sleep, if somebody's sleeping, you know, there can be happy dreams and sad dreams, all kinds of appearances, but misconstruing what's happening, not understanding it to be a dream, you know, we become deluded. And so not knowing ourselves to be Buddhas, but misconstruing our perceptions and so on, we get duped by the dream and then thus roam in cyclic existence. You know, sentient beings then roam because of that. Not understanding the dream to be what it is and not recognizing themselves to be Buddhas, they roam in their delusion.
Ani de thul yombe sena thul chukhen ngoma shing de sure la na korang shung na sung do khenjik chebe marik ni dang ni dinde ge khenjik chebe marik ba dang kundu ta be marik pa ni dige ngaran zola sanje de sanje ba ni do ngoma shing chukhen gi khunjung cha de ge khenjik chebe marik ba la hindi gi ani sosu mai ngal le ke yombe sena nga o nyambe gi zimba shukche bu ye de ba o dinde gi zimba dige ani pang ma tu be go ne thul gi yore 대가 나신기 짐바디 슈 쉐르 줘야는데 나이 아마 나이 잘라 나이 강바스 군도 답을 말이 봐. 딘데고네 아니 녀모 뭐 슈첨보들 레온 베잖아. 아니 현재 당 군다기 말이 봐니고 델라 때네 아니 도둑 도와 리둑나네 비심젠 대다 탐제 밀람 나신 툴도기요레 시디어 시브닝 모델라.
And so in what manner do we become deluded? What manner do sentient beings become deluded? It's through this twofold non-recognition. There is non-recognition, which is co-emergent non-recognition. And then there is the all-ascribing non-recognition or labeling phenomena. And so they act as a cause and a condition. You know, so in the case of the co-emergent non-recognition is like when a fetus is gestating in the womb, it starts to develop some kind of a sense of it starts to become diluted. It's obscured by that reality of being in the womb. And it creates this identity of an I based on that. And so based on that erroneous assumption, later on that fundamental co-emergent ignorance evolves into a full-blown notion of, well, I exist and that's mine and that's over there. This is my things. This is my body. This is mine. So there's possessiveness that comes into play. And then they start to label different phenomena. So that's the all ascribing non-recognition, ignorance. And so that fundamental Buddha nature, the ground of being, that Sugata Garbha, that thrust towards bliss, which is our potentiality as this movement towards bliss, is misconstrued as being an egoic self based on this ignorance. And so then in that way, we become deluded and roam through cyclic existence.
아니 시주 대화식 님보 델라 때네 아니 님보 델라 semjen 데다 탐제 출기레스 출위기 젠데 가르기 제거를라나 마릭바니 그 렌지기 마릭바다 그도답에 마릭바디 제거레스 다디 마릭바디 제암베스 출나 컨디션 출기레 아니 낭술디 컨디션 낭기를람나 디안디 슝나네 컨디션 낭기를람나 메신 낭라 대독 소소른 용 유레인 뒤네 곰바디다균 내당 류당 롱제 라소베라 난 기딕레줄 대둥알 남반나서 리모트 디자와 찌니 출레 망부르 낭줄때 두마르 숭데 출랑 준미쳇 에마 시베랑시 밀람신스타 아니 다티데고네 아니 나시기 최대한 탐제 메발라 안 나랑주기 템버 심베고네 박차 슈쳔부 데베고네 아니 도도그라나 소소라 아니 네당 류당 롱제 내가 나신게 아니 대둑 나속고 된지 낭디기요레스 메신도 낭디기요레스
So based on this fundamental potential of the ground of being, that is the Sugata Garbha, based on that potentiality, sentient beings emerge because of the causal factor of the two types of non-recognition. The two types of non-recognition act as a catalyst that obscures that fundamental Buddha nature. And then we then entertain all kinds of illusions. You know, what is not actually appearing seems to be appearing. You know, what is actually absent is seen as some kind of presence. And so the text says, the mind impaired by apprehension of duality, where there is no duality, there appear the various false appearances, the 6 migrations similar to dreams. Though non-existent yet appearing, still beings feel different pains and pleasures, habits gained through long protracted time. Places, bodies, property, and more are but the mind's experience. Joys and pains, the wages of both good and evil deeds, resemble drawings traced in varying forms. And from one delusion, many are spawned and apprehended, thus multiplicity. These false appearances arise in seamless continuity. Emma, existence is by nature like a dream. So, despite the fact that there's nothing there, we misconstrue the situation as being something there. That which is not present, we feel is somehow present. And so we do that with our location, you know, where we live, with our body, with our belongings, our wealth. You know, there is no location or body or wealth, and yet there's this illusory appearance that we deem to be self-existent, which in fact it's not. So it's like a dream. So that which is not really there, seeing it as being there, attributing some true existence and fixating on that which has no existence, attributing true existence to that and fixating on it.
다 된대기 도와 리둑디 아니 라나 소소기 대둑 넘버 나속과 난겐 대양 아니 가르기 난게를라다 랑니기 셈 직부디기 난게레스 셈 디니기 아니 기디게레 넘버 나속과 타데보 망부제 툴네 망부르 나샤죠 레마 또 된대기 나네 나와들라 다도 소미고네 아니 코로왈라마 찍네 찍도 집이고네 아니 코로왈라 참루두고요레스
So, and so the beings in the six realms undergo a multitude of experiences of happiness and sadness. They vacillate from that. And all of these experiences are nothing other than the mind. Likewise, all these activities that are engaged in, whether they're virtuous or negative, are just so many illusions. And so what happens is, it's like a chain reaction. One just leads to the other. One triggers the other. So it's this never-ending chain reaction of delusion. One thing influencing the next.
다 된대기 코로알라 다도 나외고네 셈 디니기 다도 나외고네 툴네 코로알라 찍네 찍도 주샤주데 템버 두밤 된대нг에서 죽샤주 여르벨란 요마레스 대다 탐제 밀람타부 나란조기 아니 마녜용 베스는 닐람 동그레 야 랑와다니 닐람 니세와다 닐람 메바차도그로스 어 데나신 대다 탐제 니 밀람레 아니 셴도 주르바지 요마레스
So in this way, cyclic existence is the never-ending appearing of various deluded appearances. It's ongoing. And so it's one thing connecting to another, one thing stimulating another. And so if you were to ask, well, does that have any kind of existence to it? The answer would be that it's like a dream. During a dream, one has various experiences, but upon waking, there's all of that has evaporated. And so was there anything other than dream that occurred in the dream? No, it was nothing other than a dream within the context of the dream. It has no reality beyond that, than that mere dream experience.
다디제 다딘리고네 아니 인제기 출비기 나와 레마도베기 뇌수 죽샤주 메바당 출비기 나와 딜레 셴비기 아니 된다지 중세자 메바니도 땡겨요 되네마.
And so realizing that this is nothing other than a dream that has no reality in it, then the text continues to explain like how how useless it is to have any kind of grasping and attachment to that, and explaining how that works.
랑중 셈니 찌기 ngola 마리 니기 춘나 송젠르 나소망데 밀람 나와데 랑셈 니레신도 지야메 로도 주마니지 제위소 인데 대다 탐제 랑중 셈니 찌기 ngola 마리 니기 춘나 송젠로 랑기 다 소소기 치료기 나와 샤샤조당 대다 탐제 랑기 셈레 로스 줄바지 요마르와스 대다 탐제 셈기 다니도 샤샤조레 셈기 낭샤조레스 대다 탐제 셈기 낭샤조레 마독베기 뉴스 두바 메바 인디 좀센 델라테네 대다 탐제 출바레스 송생기 로레스 대다 탐제 밀람다 타와레 나소만데 밀람 나와레스 디디 밀람기 낭샤조레 마독베기 랑기 셈레 로스 줄바지 요마레스
So the text continues. Emma, existence is by nature like a dream within the single nature of the self-arisen mind. Through ignorance of sleep, a dualistic subject-object apprehension of false appearances occurs. These dream visions, manifold, and are nothing other than the mind itself. Illusions that arise through false perception, this the conqueror himself has said. To those intoxicated by the Datura, various things appear. And so there appears to be external appearances, like the semblance of something that would be an external appearance, but those are nothing other than the mind itself. In actuality, there's nothing truly established there. There's nothing that true existence established there. It's simply the workings of fixation of subject and object. And so it's like a dream. Beyond the dream, there's nothing out there to ascertain, to apprehend. It's simply the activity of the dream itself.
Ani milam nawa nanshin rema topegi tuba mebe chumzen de la tane ani khorwegi ani tulnande tembegi shwe chinang khangdo yang ani dubyo mares dulzame tuba mebe chumzen de la tene ani garsungdora na deda tamje rangsim ni le shendu chiang me sungyong besena rangi semle loksu jurbaji semge nangsha jure loksu jurbaji yo mares deda tamje de maybe jumzen de la tene ane deda tamji semge tulnang imbi jumzen de la tene lokdok juma ni je jawi sung se jawa sobe sanjim de tene sung dus.
And so therefore, because the sentient beings of cyclic existence wander as if in a dream, there's nothing there that's truly established as being real. No, there's not even an atom's worth of existence within cyclic existence and nirvana, nothing that can be established as existent. So therefore, we can conclude that there's nothing other than just mind. And based on that reasoning, the Buddha has said that other than that, there is nothing else other than that deluded perception. It's simply nothing other than a deluded mind.
Adi tulbegi ani deda tamje tulbegi nawa rede tulbegi nawa diang rangshin meba ni do pego ni tengi ma.
So now demonstrating through examples that these deluded appearances, there are various examples that are used to illustrate this, that point to this, that are utilized here.
Shukma karsungdulana jitar tadurai nyebale nawa nasok na tulbarchik deshen marik ni je lechungwi doduk sem deshen marik ni lechungwi doduk sem tulwala nawa te temba meji dering tokpar jas ta shukna dresungdwa ta pe dadurai nyeba ta simendra bujira dadura la hindi me ta yonde 아니 나와 드라메타 가수당 가수당 송아 이나양 코 툴르겐디 툴겐기 주디가레 다두라디 차디기로 왔어 디 나신 가란족이 아니 셈게 나와 드라메타 가수당 가르 나와 데도 가레샤 송아 이나양 란신디 셈디 차디기요레스.
So in the text it says, to those intoxicated by Datura, various things appear, hallucinations, one and all. Through the intoxication, likewise. Okay, so through this, through the influence of Datura, by ingesting Datura, one will have various kinds of hallucinations. And so, what is the cause of this of these hallucinations? It's the Datura itself. Likewise. All this experience of the individual, of their happiness and their suffering and so on, is nothing other than the workings of ignorance. That's the very cause of all of those appearances arising to the individual of happiness and sadness, just like ingesting Datura.
tulnang tulzen tuldok lejungwe deme zume nime lo deshe Nyeba rangrik rangjung shejade yinmin yumin tate longyangsu jalwe gomba khadar shebarjas. Ta tegar sungyorlana milamdan drawi ki chwe deda thamje shidi namkhatabu pe shegyortat nima.
So, um, so through the intoxication, likewise, of the sleep of ignorance, the 6 migrations manifest to the deluded mind. Now, therefore, you should understand, they are not truly there. From deluded thought derives perception equally deluded, and thence delusory appearances, not true, not false, not both, beyond the ordinary mind. They should, in truth, be named awareness, self-arisen, self-cognizing. They are without identity, without existence, a vast expanse where all extremes subside. Know them to be similar to space, the wisdom mind of the victorious ones. So here, what's being demonstrated is that the very basis of all of this is actually the space of being. That's actually the very source of it. The ground of all this deluded appearance is actually the basic space of all phenomena.
Ani shung nang la karsungdo tulnang tulsin tuldok le jungwe la shedo ti khorwe ki tulnang da thamje kawani jungwe re lana tuzin bakshak teba de bakshak sakpa baksha yoba tela teni jungres.
And so it's stated that where these appearances, deluded appearances that appear to the individual, where do they, to that person who's clinging to those appearances, where do they originate? Where do they stem from? They stem from our habitual tendencies, our latencies that emerge up, and then we fixate on those. That's where they arise from.
Ani dindegi ta sem dela ani demba dan zuma demba meba da zumba meba deme zumegi lode ani loam yana yinmin yumen la sobegi dindegi lode kawan dela ten jungurla na dinde yubi jumzen dela tene phungbo kham chinche la sobegi nawati leda nyumo berangshim yubi jumzen dela ten junguyores dela tamje yang ani sem de jungsha jo re ma to pegi loksu jerbaji 주비어를 배는 로스 줄바지 주비어 말해. 이인데 셈니 남가다비 아니 이미 좀 전에라 때네 강도에 맞추기 좀 전에라 주비어레스. 이인데 잘위에 공부 카드를 셔버자 라고 좀 전에레스.
So this fixation on truth or on falsity, or this fixation on existence or non-existence, asserting yes or asserting no, all of this is the workings of our skandhas, our aggregates, the 5 aggregates, and the ayutanas, the sense fields. And coupled with that, with our skandhas, our aggregates, our physical aggregates and mental aggregates, coupled with that is the karmic actions and emotional reactivity. And so that sets into motion this whole scenario of accumulating karmas and so on, And so that's what's creating all this deluded phenomena. And so other than that functioning of the skandhas and the ayutanas and the karmas and conflicting emotions, other than that, there is no other exclusive reality that's presenting itself. That's some other reality besides that. It's just simply that. But that in itself is based on space, on the ground of being, that Buddha potentiality. And so it says, know them to be similar to space, the wisdom mind of the victorious ones. So that's the very ground of those delusions. Even though there might be the operation of the apparent, the non-unreal operation of that, the ground of that is the wisdom mind of the victorious ones. That's the ground of that sky-like reality of the Buddhas.
Dine shungnane chugen rangshi milam tabu di nangde nine ngo gamela namba madur nawa magashi reshik zunla namgun tongbesu shindu chena denmin zumbamin yomin meme rangshin talide kanyam jodi samyul namdangde rangshin dene takpa shebar ja sungedi ta di nangla tenda kartengyorla na nangla rangshin meba ani korwa yene danyam demba namga tabu tengyores.
Nangla rangshin mepa konda.
Rangshin meba korwa yene takpa danyam takpa danyam ba namga tabu tengyores.
Korwa ye yini dakwa. Things are dreamlike in the very moment they appear. No intrinsic being do they have at all, and yet their features are not lost. To their appearance, there's no hindrance. Carefully investigate these false and momentary forms. In every aspect empty, they are neither false nor true, not existent, yet not non-existent, beyond all ontological extremes. They are like space beyond thought and word. Know that they are primordially pure. So fundamentally, what's being said here is, despite appearing, they have no self-nature and are primordially, so cyclic existence in itself is primordially pure, the state of equality.
Ani tandagi tsikdi nala tenda kartengarlana nasiki che tamje ani milamgi nawa tartu kunzubdu nangzamdu meba salnam tongbi sukzamdu yores kunzubdu inayang den tambarla ani tanda karse denba memba jumba memba yoba memba meba memba rangshin thali deba res rangshingi namgatabu yadamba res den tambala Dindi korangi shungnala yang reshik zunla namgin tongbi sukla hindi kunzup tembala ani tongbi ki suk samji yores nawa samji yores ina yang tuen tambala che songwa ina teda tamje samyule dhalwa res kanyam jode samyul namdangda rangshi dene takwa shebar jas dire
Samyule depa.
dal rangshi dene takwa shebar jas.
So what this is elucidating is that all possible phenomena are like a dream. It's a simply appearance of emptiness. On the relative level, there seems to be a mere appearance, but that is an empty appearance, and those appearances are beyond existence and non-existence. They are free of any kind of extreme. They are like the sky. And so they're simply the bodying forth of emptiness. They're empty forms. And so they are beyond the domain of conceptuality, beyond the domain of the mind. They transcend the mind. And so they are primordially pure appearances of cyclic existence without any inherent existence. So they're primordially pure.
Deje tene ta dine mala ani nangla rangshin mebigi lamdi milam tabu nidu sheros jungnang garsungdo dedaran nangse khorde chönamgin milam dangda tawi thakche ne se taya gone tanda bartola nawa nangsigi ani khorwegi chö inayare nyangele debi chö inayare 최대다 탐지 밀람단 타와레 밀람게랑 신레스 밀람니도 땡라 밥송아스 따웨고네 코르위기 최 밀람니도 땡라 밥바레 냥엘레 데비 최양 땡라 밥바레 코르위기 최디 밀람다부레 냥엘레 데비 최디 밀람다부 마레람 숭요 마레 디니 코르데 니가기 최디 밀람다부 따웨고네 타제네스 따디 타제네스 밀람당다 따위 탁제
So they're appearing and yet having no self nature. So thus they are like a dream. So the text says, thus by means of such a view, you gain clear understanding that all things in samsara and nirvana are like dreams. So we should come to a definitive conclusion about the phenomena being just like dreams. That is, we should come to the conclusion that samsara is like a dream and lacks inherent existence, lacks self-existence. But if you were to think that, oh, it's only samsara that lacks inherent existence and has no true nature, and that nirvana has somehow a true nature, that's also, both of those, we come to the conclusion that they're both dreamlike and lack true existence or self-nature. And so via the avenue of the view, we can then determine definitively that they lack inherent existence, both those options, samsara and nirvana, that they're just a mere appearance. And so the next part talks about how one can come to that understanding.
다 타와디 밀람네 최다탐제 밀람니도 텔라 페바잠지 마임바 다 타웨코네 텔라 페샤바잠지 디기요 말. 다 밀람니도 곰용베스나 냠술랑에서나 컨디션 랑고비어라나 곰베 냠술랑치 템바니 데웨 덴라 칠중 랍제네 잡수 조던 장주 셈제 최남 냠조 동뱅 아닐레 데네 동베 주마랍도 곰바르자세 아니 다 가르숭비어라나 따위 탁제네 따위 땐라 페바잠지 마임바 곰베 냠수 랑용베 세나 양다 소소 곰자고를 밀람니도 곰고기어로 디 곰용베 세나 소소기 대사이네 데위 땐라 덴데워 길종제네 데네 잡도 데네 셈게 아니 뇌시데라 에 최근 냠바니도 소비 동바 데네고네 봐 아니 곰고기어레스
So it doesn't suffice simply to determine definitively that, through the view that things are dreamlike. That alone is not enough. One needs to have a direct engagement in that realization in a practical way. To realize it on the experiential level directly. So the text continues to explain how this is done. Okay, so I shall now explain how through your meditation you will bring this into your experience. Adopt a cross-legged posture on a pleasant seat, take refuge, engender bodhicitta. Now think intensely, meditate that in the state of emptiness, of perfect evenness, all things appear like a magical illusion. So, we apply this view on the practical level by implementing it through the training. So you establish a good seat, comfortable seat, take refuge, generate bodhicitta, generate the proper motivation, so on, and then engage in the main part, which is to realize the emptiness of all phenomena, that they're actually like a dream, directly engaging that.
아니 대위 땐라 질중제니 대용베 세나양 네 삼로 간에 가야 마담베 거네 최대한 탐지 대 마도베 거네 디게요 말에 최 탐지 밀람tar도 아 ngo니 메버 또 고기요레스 딘데기 최 탐지 ngo니 메베기 된데라 냠버 샤비 거네 아니 질룬제니 대고기요레스
And so, finding a comfortable seat, adopting the Vajra posture, that's not enough just to stay there in a thoughtless state. But one should truly evoke that realization of the essence itself, the fact that there's no inherent existence. So really become intimately acquainted. Don't just remain in a thoughtless state, but engage that true nature, that the essence itself, and the realization that of the lack of inherent existence there.
아니 잡수줘야 돼 잡도 돼야 군주 숨로 잡수줘야 돼 아니 장주지 셈제야 돼 셈쟁이 된도 장주셔도 셈게야 돼 아니 내가 나신기 최근 냠족 라인데 아니 최대다 탐지 마제바 마각바 아니 뎀바 유민 덴진다 유민 메멜라소바 냠바니도 또가이들 최근 냠족 슬라이어딘 똥바니도 또 고기요
Makepa magakpa dini tal tao. Yeah.
되게 최근 냠바니도 똑같이 고기요레스 대다 탐지양 밀람기랑 신이도 나온 공부기요레스
And so then so how do we engage this in an intimate way? We take refuge in the three jewels. We generate bodhicitta for the benefit of all sentient beings. And then we gain this intimate realization that all phenomena are the state of equality, are in the state of complete perfection of equality, which means there's the realization of being non-arising, unceasing, free from assertions of existence and non-existence, free of any kind of limitation, or any kind of limitation whatsoever. That state of the perfection of all phenomena in the state of equality and perfection, of completeness.
다 디네마 슝기 아니 다 곰자연베스나 아니 람사 라민난줄 다 라마 곰단데 땡겨 디네마 이거를 때다 니비 이도 자위 라마 이담 칸드르스 주베 라마 예르메셀답라 최대 밀람 종으로 소와탑 다당 나스여슈 라마르틴 칸냠강데 다르직뢰라곰 데이 진랍 똑베 슈클레 차르세 단 소소기 아니 지올라 Pemada Nimata Uso, 아니, 지울 빼대님이 윤이도라 힌테나라, 유소 랑기 짜웰라마. 수사지단 장주 셈베기 주벨라마 대다 탐제 팀싱 칸조 빡돌 맵에 코리 꽂네. 아니 딘데지 아니 삼국이요레 짜웰라마 이담 칸조제 주벨라마 예르메살답라스 딘데고네.
So how do we ideally engage in this meditation? Well, it's principally through the practice of Guru Yoga. And so, so it says, then visualize above your head upon the center of a lotus and on discs of sun and moon, amid a host of deities and dakinis, your own root teacher, never separate from the teachers of the lineage. So, so in the top of above your head is your kind root guru, and then all the lineage gurus dissolve into that primary guru, your root guru, who's on top of your head, and that guru is surrounded. Your root guru is surrounded by the deities and dakinis, and so there's that very clear presence of the guru in the space above you.
아니 고란 슈나라 최대 밀람 종ar 소와탑라도 디인디 아니 소소기 칸에다 라메기 첸 생아 당하야당 내가 나신기 잡돌라서 고 대야당 근데 지연데 삼로디 가르당 고기열라나 라니기 밀람 종아를 징길로 없어 내가 나신기 주마 똑바로 징길로 없어 되나 툴랑 대다 탐지 봐 상화를 징길로 없어 다진 대다 탐지 시벌 징길로 없어 근데 거네 쏘았다 고그레스
Yes, sir. And so, we will say the mantra of the Guru, make supplications, take refuge in the Guru. The mantra it's a mantra which has the Guru's name in it. It's called Tsengnak in Tibetan. And so we make this supplication requesting that, bless me so that I may see phenomena to be like a dream. Bless me to see phenomena to be like an illusory appearance, or like a magical apparition or illusory appearance. Bless me to overcome fixation onto the erroneous fixation on a self. May that unravel and be purified. So we make these supplications to the great Guru.
니 그런 슝나라 다당 나스 예슈 라마르팀 숭도 디숭에 가르라나 아니 나스 탐제 소솔라디 달라디 아니 다니양 외네 얄네 라미 두골라팀 라마양 외데 얄네 남갈라 제용베스나 아니 남게 가르찹 아니 동세 추기 라마로 녀송에 거네 남가다 냠베 다 남가다 냠버 아니게 라마데 데이터도 줄송 냠베 거네 디데지는 공고기요레스
And so in the text, the method that they outline there is you would dissolve yourself, and all phenomena would dissolve. So oneself and then all phenomena, all possible phenomena. And then one dissolves into light. And then that light goes up and dissolves into the Lama. And then the Lama further then dissolves into space. And then you, in that state of the realization of the genuine Lama of the Dharmakaya, the indivisibility of emptiness and clarity, which is the genuine Lama of the Dharmakaya.
아딘데기 밀람 고미알라 렌조디 아니 데웨텐라 칠종젠네 데야 잡조데야 잔주지 셈게야 내가 나신기 소소기 라마 자위 라마 고미알라 소바데 렌조 아니 가세다 밀람 고미야기 렌조기 최디레 대다 탐제 족네 다 디네마 아니 뉘시 다 뉘디 밀람디 간디 잡을 공고그레스 데마숭겨
So everything thus far is training on how to see reality as a dream. Starting off with adopting the right posture, which is the cross-legged posture, then taking refuge, then generating bodhicitta. All of that constitutes the preliminary practice aspect of training in seeing phenomena as a dream. And then we come to the next part, which is really the main part of the dream training.
아니 시디 간디 공고기여를람나 그런기 슝낭네 히로 리당 룽바 율루당 사추 멜론 남가 셈젠소 숙자 디로 렉데 율nga당 난기 리당 왕시 최남긴 밀람 니진 양반 양 곰싱 승연데스나다 나란주기 아니 데메기 나와 가레 샤리오와 데다 탐지 초데 다야 톰불라 낭나야데 양살 낭나야데 치료기 거기 와 인두가 수메롱 남가 내가 나신기 나치 숙자 디로 레젤라소가 치 융아당 난기 아니 류당 왕보 셰바데다 탐제양 아니 밀람기 나왔다도 레마 똑배기 딜레 로스 주르바지 강도엔 두바 메버 아니 임바 대다 탐지 데메드 레도 산베코네 나랑서 닝 탁관에 깨직 제양 마잉베코네 양네 양도 공고기요레 스밀람니데 임바
So then how we really become really thoroughly acquainted and experience this on the intimate level have a powerful experiential realization of this. It says here, the main part of the practice, to tell yourself repeatedly, grow used to it, that outwardly all mountains, valleys, regions, towns, the earth, fire, water, wind, and space, sentient beings and the rest, the five sense objects, form, sound, texture, smell, and taste, and inwardly the body, faculties, and senses and consciousness are nothing more than dreams. So you become intimately acquainted with this. All sights and sounds, the sense faculties, your body, your consciousness, everything is free of inherent existence. You drive home that message over and over again, thoroughly believing it from the bottom of your heart, having a complete conviction in that everything that I encounter, all the high mountains, the low valleys, whatever it might, any object of the five elements and so on, it's that complete and thorough conviction of that's nothing other than a dream. Lacks all inherent existence it's completely bereft of any true existing phenomena. It's nothing other than a dream.
아니 내가 나시 양자를 슝나네 가르송도 가상 펜체 데뷔 최남균 당수 밀람 당라 이기율세 아 데뷔기 최 탐제 가상기 나왔다 탐제 가상 공다기 밀람 나시니도 삼을 당국이레스 밀람 당라 이기율세 대링 나와 메시 나위로 당당 도메 밀람다 상당 상노 마음 밀람데 각줍데도 진앙 탐제라 밀람이 비두신 예르샤네 뎀벨론데 깨지 고미자세 아티 수양 베세나 가르송야를라나 데비기 최다 탐제 가상기 나와 데다 탐제 가상 생긴 일람도 보sam로 당고요레스 다다기 최다 탐제 아니 단 치도 냐용 베스나 밀람샤르기랑 데나시 삼당고레스 마음베기 최 탐제 다 사니 공다 냐기 밀람다도 셰고그레 데인데 고 메바 아니 가세 나와 마가바 데가 나신기 란신기 매신도 나란속에 낭샤와 낭샤저지 데 딘데기 낭데니 대양 뭐 줍샤저레벨라나 두바가야 메바 아니 가우드단 데독데다 탐지야 밀람 니레마도 베비 닐람 딜 로스 줄바지 뎀바 메바니도 셰고 그레스
So how do you further? How do you engage in this? By feeling that, as it says in the text, all past things occurring till today are mental objects, just like last night's dreams. Today's appearances, perceived yet non-existent, are but the mind's delusion. They are like what you dreamt about last night and what you'll dream about tonight. The things that will appear tomorrow and the night that follows after are but dreams in store. Remember this, that all things that appear are like dreams. Okay, so basically what's being said here is like, just like last night's dream, the past is like last night's dream. It's non-existent. There's nothing to be found there. Whatever is occurring today is like tonight's dream. And whatever is going to occur later on is tomorrow's dream. There's the appearance of appearances, and yet they are the unhindered appearances, but they are unborn, unhindered appearances. Despite not being there, there's the semblance of an appearance appearing there, despite the absence of that. So nothing is established. All events are like a dream. Nothing other than a dream. There's nothing inherently existing there. There's nothing truly coming into being. It's just a mere appearance, an unhindered mere appearance. That's all, which is dreamlike. And so you really, you convince yourself by thoroughly investigating or thoroughly training in seeing everything as a dream.
아니 내가 나신기 슝나네 조도 사샤 담마르 주르바나 밀람 나시 마인 템베선 지난 지제지삼 탐정기 밀람 임비 뒤시 마저위 때문에 알롤 벤빈 치쉐다 상승 차르즈메 치부종세 다가레 조도 율강도 조송와이네레 내강도 두송와이나야레 아니 가 란조기 계잘라소바 가레당 가리셰나야레 칼라 가레당 가레사송와이나야레 땀 아니 남쪽 또 가르당 가르되나 쫄람 강 제송와이나야 대다 탐제 아니 밀람니도 셰고 그래스
So how do you do this on the practical level? When moving, sitting, eating, walking, speaking, tell yourself with undistracted mindfulness, it's all a dream. Whatever may appear, whatever you may do or think, never lose the thought that it is but a dream. All is without existence, intangible, uncertain, evanescent, insubstantial, indefinable. Train yourself in this great state, in which there is nothing to be grasped. So whether you're going about doing things, or whether you're just sitting, whether you're talking, whether you're eating food, whatever you're thinking, whatever activity, whatever chores you're engaged in, everything is permeated by the thought that this is simply a dream. And you train in that in all activities. Just thoroughly saturated in the realization that everything's nothing but a dream.
다 된대기 밀람기 뇌임 바하고 고네 밀람기 ngo디니 가렐라나 덴바 메바 덴바 메비기 ngo디 가렐라나 짐바 메바 짐바 메비기 ngo디 가렐라나 땡아라즈야 슝나네 가르송노 데메 알올 랍다 알올 리심 잉신 바메기 남바시 데네 알올 바
Denme alo so the kare la denme alo.
알올 라인데 lui tembu meba sem tembu meba
Oh.
nam alol la hindire
Oh yeah.
tene alol gi ngodi kharrela na koran shuna benbin sungdo
Oh.
ben la hindi ngaranzu gi temba test le de hinjora yang
Oh.
yesi me sungma tu ken tendere benbin se ani
Oh, that's
benbin koran gi shuna gar sungdo che chöt sungdo che chöt la hindi temba torte hen
La.
temba torwa
Jamba torwa. Oh.
아니 최초기 어디 가래 상생인 상생 라인데 빼나 말아서 고당 기군 대화 탐진다 니마기 왜 가르부지 샤르나 자스니 자기로 와 어디나시 테스 야래 되긴 상생기 어디 가래라나 탈톨스 그런 탈톨 지메침부르 종송다 탈톨 라인데 지당 가란족이 아니 자승기 남바더고 나와다 탐지 빼나 자승기 나왔다 나와다 미르다 나와 다과시 레딩 딘딜럽 나와 종국이요 레스 시기요 돌드나
That's so. So then, by identifying everything as being like a dream, the essence of this practice is that eventually you'll see everything as lacking existence. And then that it's free of any kind of existence and free of any kind of fixation. Your experience will be free from fixation. And because there's a lack of existence, everything becomes kind of like opaque and nebulous and transparent, rather faint, kind of like a fading rainbow, like a faint light coming through the window, just barely there. Sort of like, almost like you're losing consciousness. Things become sort of vague, nondescript. Yeah, very nebulous.
다바시 샤야기 디수 레인 사고 디수 추즈니 디수
Lasso. then that's a shocking abuchi. Rinpoche kachuchi do us and shocking. So we'll probably close the session at this point. Low. Kapsi che uro marwe. Kapsi che. Zoto gre.
Yeah.
Kanga jumare, kanga milami session at degree. So we'll bring the this session to a close at this point, and so we're opening it up to questions. Like how dreamlike is that dream? Is it a real dream or half dream? Oh yeah, you're not dreaming now, it's morning time. Your credit card debt is definitely a dream, and your mortgage is totally a dream.
That's wonderful to hear. Thank you. Rinpoche, we have some questions that came in. First is from Jindati. Is Buddha nature a consciousness of mind? And how is it ultimately non-existent?
That 대신 인구 세야디, semkin number shepa ki chachi reve seidu. Ona de majupa yena kadar chik nin seidu. Dewa shepa ingu seidu. Tempa majupa yena tini karares. Tini semkin number shepa ki cha job chik. Nena ra. Tini kare nis dewa shepa ingu seidu.
Yawarshik Bining Buddhi, Semgin number Sheba Maindu, Ranshinji, Semgin number Sheba in Ranshingi Ngo Tongba, Salwa, Tichagio Mares, the Maimbi Jumsen de la Tene, Ani Yawarshik Bining Bula Hindi, Ranshinji, Salwa Shagu Yores, Ngo Tongba, Majeba, Magakwa. Ye rangshin maybe chanerang and she dewarship in boss like yours.
Well, the consciousness, Buddha nature, you can't rightly say that it's consciousness necessarily, because consciousness is not ascertaining, that is the simple mind, the mind consciousness is not ascertaining the true nature, which is the essence is empty, and that the nature of that emptiness is clarity. The consciousness fails to realize that. It doesn't realize that empty essence is unborn and unceasing. You see, so it's outside of that realization. It ascertains things in a different way. And so in the absence, though, of consciousness and the workings of consciousness, if we overcome the ordinary workings of consciousness, we arrive at Buddha nature. That consciousness is an interference with the Buddha nature. It's an obscuring factor to that. But the essence of that, which is not perceived by the consciousness, is the Buddha nature. The consciousness in its functioning doesn't see that.
Thank you. Linda Borland sent a question. What is the difference between the experience of nirvana and the awareness of kayas and wisdoms?
Depa ra dan yang de ra depa
Deba.
depa dan ku dan yeshe den chepar kare du seidu ku dan yeshe seidu dan ngazu ku dan yeshe da sanji ki yenten ku dan yeshe den so dan depa chepar ayu Nyangde.
지다 냥데라 힌디 코로와다 냥인 냥데라 힌디 코로레 데바지 샤기요로와 코로레
맞어.
데바 데라 꾸당 이시 콜라 링기 두데요레스 거기 연된제
Let's well, when we use the word nirvana, right, in Tibetan that's depa, which means transcending. So it points to transcending samsara. That's what nirvana, that's the etymology of it. And so having transcended samsara, there's spontaneously present the various primordial wisdoms and Buddha kayas, Buddha bodies, Buddha, Gestalt's not quite cutting it, but something like that. Yeah, the Buddha kayas. And the qualities are naturally present in the absence of samsara. So they're the same.
Next question from Lila. If a mind stream is freed from belief in inherent existence, how is that helping others and the world?
Tene semki ju ra semju the tempa majupa yina drotin kandesa jugure segdu the tempa juba mena ra semju semki ju semju semju tempa majupa yina ra drotin kandesa jugure
로데네
lasso tate chichana kunzu de kaya mepa drabchik jingidwa jindang chidwa kaya mepa cheta drabchik mongso na shin de chirati chik anjo koyong de cheta drabchik
이거 비 중생 데라 때네 로데게 요레 라싱기
맞아.
두데 코 tatna karche takwa chadu gro tin dai ke malo chadu rangshi bebi jumte dela tene khaya ruyo re pena cheta ke tongba imi jumte dela tene khaya ruyo re
Maso. Well, on the one hand, if you assert an eternalistic view, that's an impeding factor, because that's asserting some kind of existence. That's an impediment. That's an error. And then the other hand, though, if you see the lack of inherent existence, that opens it up. That's emptiness, actually. Lack of inherent existence. In the wake of realizing, or in emptiness is also synonymous with openness, right? So emptiness provides an open avenue for samsara and nirvana to arise. All phenomena arise out of emptiness, because emptiness is openness. That's another synonym for emptiness, is that openness. That openness provides the possibility for all phenomena to arise. And so your effective activity can happen as a consequence of realizing that openness, that emptiness. Nothing is impeding it. It becomes even more efficient action, more effective action. In a nutshell, emptiness is not nihilism, it's openness.
Next question is from Kedar. What or what aspect of oneself recognizes the dreamlike nature of reality or the nature of the mind itself?
Tene natsoke token de sures ta milam chetamje milam yemba ki chikdogi doa. De token de ki kempo sures karares
이디 셈레
sem.
셈
Well, that let's well, that's the mind. It's the cognizant aspect of the mind that's knowing that.
칼라나
Tati Milam to yung do, right? Milam to gitu ah, dan chet tamji milam yang baca to yung itu ah. Ini anti token iki campo token.
이 또기 누구디 셈레 베나 최탑제 감숨니 셈자모 수여로 하시나
맞죠?
이셈 딜레 로스주로 메바 셈게 나와레 로스주로 메바 이다탐게 셈게 나와레람 셰힌데 수르라나 소소랑 리버디 차기요레스
맞죠? So it's said in the classic text that the three realms are nothing but the mind. Other than the mind, there is no phenomena. But that phenomena itself, the acknowledger of that phenomena, or the witnesser of that phenomena, the knower of that phenomena, is self-occurring intrinsic awareness. Right? It's the Rikpa. The Rikpa is knowing that. You can ask what Rikpa is next week.
Next question is from Serbi. I am thinking of Guru Rinpoche's famous saying, my view is as high as an eagle, but my action must be as fine as flour. So when I have this awareness, how do I make sure I am not passive in day-to-day action, but act with wisdom?
Rinpoche Chiksungdwa, Miki Dawa, Kasa Namka Drato, Deni Cholam, Kasa Trudra, Trushi, Dra Sheeps, Dra Cholam. Chiksungdwa, I think me do. Dawa, Namka Dratos, Dra.
제바
Deni, oh yeah, did it, Dra. Deni, Dindra Yinara. Cookie cheek dragi do say do that kind daughter flipple chaya ki yinga do say do flirt on it right nyop do drop chichaya the card chegores right kare that same dream gore card chegore that
아셈 잼 그래 윈디 잡고래
진짜
다르라나 구름버치기 따와 남가단 도그르 되네 쮸바데 페 섭섭지고래 숨도 왔는데
so well yeah just like Rinpoche's statement there my view is high like the sky my action is fine like flour you know so actions fine like flour means there's action there you're just meticulous in your actions right and so you have to have diligence is quite important you know enthusiastic endeavor you know feeling the enthusiasm for diligence, you know, realizing that there's a need for action, fine actions, not gross, crude action, but refined, subtle action.
맨날 구름버치기 따와 남가단 토스데 따와 오네 야사 창tung 심지세라 옛나야 쮸바데 심지세는 예바 여러 왔어 따와 남가단 토요 남간 따와 가라서 따와 통부 말레연데 쮸바데 데 제송에는 예바 사이로 왔어
So, you know, Rinpoche engaged in all kinds of activities. He even killed on occasion and drank alcohol and so on. His view was very high. But unless we have that kind of really expansive, all-encompassing view, we really have to be conscientious about our individual actions. We really have to watch it, you know. Until we've reached that point of thoroughgoing realization, we have to be very careful of our actions. And we have to engage in action too.
Next question is from Erica. If everything we experience is just a dream and we should not grasp at any of what is occurring, should we be going through life without much emotion then? Why? I just heard that things will become vague, etc. But I want to understand in what ways this serves us.
Dine chut hamche milam yemba do yung du chichina da kasa. Nyomo meba drabu chagrebes. Ra. Dine nyomo meba drabu chichana. Kanga rabrip drabu chichagre. Benbong rabrip drabu chicha meyo seidu. Di nyinga tsabu chi mindu wa nyokdo drabu chichag mendro.
가야지 마시네.
Ah, re. Kaya yo ma chin nanshin milam drabu.
제 밀람 또 통송아 있나? 아니 알아서게 밀람이도 또 어떻게 아니 딜라 툴저겐 아니 당기 툴기 가르쳐서 힘 가르쳐서 렌지제 마릭보다 kundutobe marikbani 딜라 때네 콘순이기 주지도 맞추고 밀람이도 또 말해 해서 밀람니도 또 통화이나 디디기 주디 밥방도 그래서 이방어디 밥방 그래서 이방 용베테나 된군에 단당 알아서 나신 기부 용야 응알 용야 응알 용야 디디가 용 말해서 거치당 기다 나와 딜렘 말인데 간제 자기는 싫어하고서 말했을 때 다시 단당 맨 산이 아니고 동아 용 맛이 자기도 기부
What's up?
좀 자기에서 말해
Re. If you see everything to be dreamlike, that's your own personal experience. But others are still under the influence of the dream. And there's a natural resonating concern, empathy for those beings who are stuck in their dreams. Because they're under the influence of the twofold ignorance, that's the co-emergent ignorance of believing in existence, and then the labeling, all ascribing non-recognition, where you label all phenomena. And they're just completely stuck in that labeling things in the reactive state. So they're undergoing all kinds of mood swings and all kinds of emotions and so on. They're tormented. Sometimes they're happy, sometimes they're sad, mostly sad. And so, this is something that we should overcome, and they should overcome also. This is something to give up. It's all this reactivity to dreamlike experiences. And, then you'll arrive at a state of contentment, kind of happiness. Actually, there are some drugs now that, you take a drug and you feel kind of good. You'll feel good. You'll feel good and at ease in the wake of the realization that everything's like a dream. You'll overcome your emotional reactivity and so on. The conflicting emotion. You won't lose your empathy, You'll lose your reactiveness and your conflicting emotions.
I think we have time for maybe one or possibly two more. Question from Wendy. Dreams or dreamlike appearances must be useful sometimes. Can you comment on why we think they exist or what meaning or purpose they have?
Dini nilam ki nawa di bechu chi yobe da danda bechu drabuchik. Right? Cho meba chanjan na marwa da bechu chi mendros. Right?
배주여
밀람 ki yundin drabuchi seidu.
밀람기 나와도 배주여레스 나라속에 최탐지 밀람기 나와도 똑통송아이나 아니 코로알레야 돌레기 배주여레스
What's up?
밀람디
dreams are
밀람디 배 대나신진의 최디 또 오게여레스 나라
What's up? So dreams are beneficial to the extent that they are a catalyst for us to gain liberation. When we start to see the dreamlike quality of phenomena, then we can then realize what phenomena are completely. We don't just hang on to the idea of things as a dream, but we go further. We realize the nature of phenomena. So in that way, they're kind of like a way whereby we can realize phenomena and then thus gain liberation. So that's the good quality of seeing everything as dreamlike. That's the benefit of that. That's where it's useful. to see things as a dream.
Okay, and we have a
You know, there might be just a translator's footnote. Dream-like as opposed to actually being a dream are two different things, right? You know, in the use of language, right? Dream-like and actually being a dream are two different things. Yeah.
Okay, and this is a request from Stan, since it seems that 3 sessions wouldn't have enough for Rinpoche to comment on the entire text in detail. I would like to ask Rinpoche to please grant oral transmission for the text at some point.
That the lung, oh yeah. Then pache ngats tun summa the yo mar chi chu sonya chu she ra no chu the tun summa the yo mar. Then me chi ki gandu chi shi years so remember chi ni ma chi ki kasa long chi nang sa des.
다 가라서 니마 숨만데 요 말레스 딘데 산트로 투비에 하고 와서 시나에 룽다 남산레스 디기레스 쭉 니마 쭉 되는 룽된 곳.
Yeah, that's true. It might not be possible to have the entirety of the text covered, but Rinpoche will kindly offer the transmission at the end of the last session.
Thank you. Thank you, Rinpoche. And yes, for these wonderful teachings. What a blessing. And I'm going to turn over to Jacqueline, Lama Jacqueline, to do our closing prayers. And when she's done, we'll have everybody unmute and be able to say hellos and goodbyes.
The dedication of merit. By this virtue, in all of my lives, may I perfect the accumulations of merit and primordial wisdom. And from the arising of merit and primordial wisdom, may I attain the 2 sacred kayas. And the long life prayer for His Holiness the Dalai Lama. From the Pure Land, surrounded by a ring of snow mountains, the source of benefit and happiness without exception, all-powerful Tenzin Gyatso, who is Avalokiteshvara, may you remain steadfastly until samsara is exhausted. May your activities be as all-encompassing as space. And the long life prayer for AdzomGR Rinpoche. Om Swasti, primordially unchanging luminosity, the true nature, Dharmata, is revealed perfectly in the Vajra essence, the supreme vehicle, great charioteer of this path, whose wisdom mind manifests in the dance of magical emanation. As the supreme Nirvanakaya, Jerme Tekjo Dorje, may he remain present here forever. And the long life prayer for AdzomGR Rinpoche, embodiment of the power and blessing of an infallible ocean of refuge, gracious Dharma Lord, guardian of the teachings and sentient beings, glorious and excellent Jerme Tupten Japso, unchanging ocean of Buddha's doctrine, may your lotus feet be steadfast, your actions all encompassing. And the prayer for post meditation. in the state where the three visions, sounds, and awarenesses are, deities, mantras, and dharmakaya. This is the encompassing display of kayas and primordial wisdom. In the practice of the profound, secret, great yoga, may the one taste of the inseparable heart tigle manifest. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. You could unmute yourselves and your videos as well, so everybody can take a look at the
Rinpoche, so good to see you. I look forward to seeing you in Bodh Gaya and in Bodha once again. And Eric, thank you so much. And everyone at Dawn Mountain.
Yeah. Oh my God, how funny.
So wonderful.
Hey, everyone. Hi, Cheryl.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Katinche Rinpoche.
Thank you.
Bela Katinche.
Lama Harvey.
Thank you so much.
She did it.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Okay.
Thank you from California, Rinpoche.
Thank you from Germany. Thank you.
Yeah.
Vicky from Canada.
Thank you, Rinpoche, for the California Sokpa. This is Nina. Thank you.
Thank you from Bogota, Colombia.
Thank you from Argentina.
Thank you from Colombia.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you, bye.
Pretty incredible when you think about it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Love you, Rinpoche.
Renee from Cresco.
Thank you from Arizona.
Thank you.
Thank you for the very beautiful Dzogchen teachings, Rinpoche. Very, very beautiful teachings.
Thank you, Renee from Cresco.
Thank you from Arizona.
Very beautiful Dzogchen teachings, Rinpoche. Very, very beautiful teachings.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Good to see everyone.
Thank you from Singapore.
Yeah.
I think this is her.
Har Har Mahadev.
I think that's who she was.
Okay, well, I guess.
Thank you so much. Blessings. Good evening.
Thank you from Estonia. Thank you very much.
Well,
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Jacqueline. Jacqueline, thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie and Jacqueline. That was wonderful.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Emily and Gary, also in the background.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Eric.
She's alive.
Thank you, Emily
Amazing,
and
amazing
Gary in the
translation.
background. And of course, Mama Jacqueline and Stephanie. Love to everybody.
I'd love to all see you next
No, not next, yes, next Wednesday.
next week.
Thank you all. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank
Such a
you,
late,
Jacqueline.
such an honor, Vijay. Kusere.
Tashi Delika An.
Hi, Kasu.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Hey, Deborah.
Mm.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Jacqueline.
Thank you, Stephanie.